Good evening. Turkey has blatantly demanded that the Republic of Cyprus stops oil and natural gas exploration in its offshore exclusive economic zone and share the hydrocarbon reserves based on the common ownership of the island. Ankara further accused Nicosia of unilateral actions in reference to the exploration and called on the international community to intercede. A Turkish Foreign Ministry statement said that until such time Nicosia ends exploration, Ankara will support natural gas drilling in the occupied territories. The Turkish side provocatively referred to two peoples, accusing the Republic of Cyprus as acting as the sole owner of the island's resources. The concept of a partnership must be adopted, the Turkish Foreign Ministry said, so that ongoing Cyprus issue talks are not affected. The government spokesman in Nicosia said that Turkey's harassment of the international firm conducting exploration in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone has an adverse effect on the ongoing settlement negotiations. The government expressed the conviction that there's no benefit but only cost for Turkey in maintaining occupation troops in Cyprus. Spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis was commenting on a remark of US Vice President Joe Biden, who is reported to have said that Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan had conveyed a similar position to him during a recent meeting. Christodoulidis noted that if this indeed is the position of the Turkish president, Nicosia is expecting real moves towards the withdrawal of his troops and not mere declaration.
An announced decision by Turkey to hold seismographic studies in lots 2, 3 and 9 of Cyprus's exclusive economic zone between the 20th of this month and the 30th of December, and the issuing on the part of Ankara of a relevant directive to shipping, constitutes, according to the island's government spokesman, a violation of the Republic of Cyprus's sovereign rights and lacks any legitimacy whatsoever. Speaking on our third radio channel this morning, Nikos Christodoulidis noted that the announced action, which will inevitably harass and affect the activities of the foreign company legitimately engaged within Cyprus's EEZ, will also affect the negotiations aimed at a solution of the island's long-standing problem and is hardly conducive to their smooth holding. The government spokesman also noted that representations over the issue have already been made to the United Nations, the European Union, and to countries which have publicly referred to Cyprus's inalienable right to exploit its exclusive economic zone, adding that what he described as the very serious situation would be re-evaluated today by the President of the Republic. Furthermore, and in subsequent statements on our midday current affairs program Από Μέρα σε Μέρα, spokesman Christodoulidis confirmed that the postponement of this coming Thursday's scheduled meeting between President Nikos Anastasiadis and Turkish Cypriot leader Dervish Eroglu is, as he said, a distinct possibility, and that decisions regarding the diplomatic, legal and political handling of the matter will be taken within the next couple of days. On the same issue, Foreign Minister Kassoulidis today intimated that the ongoing Cyprus issue negotiations could well be suspended in the wake of Turkey's provocative actions in the island's exclusive economic zone. Specifically, he noted that the Republic of Cyprus will react both diplomatically and legally with a series of measures decided upon at a foreign ministry meeting this last Saturday and also attended by Energy Minister Giorgos Lakotripis. Ioannis Kassoulidis went on to say that the measures have been placed at the disposal of the President of the Republic, who will be briefing party leaders accordingly at a meeting scheduled for tomorrow. Asked if the measures include a possible suspension of the negotiations, the Foreign Minister voiced the opinion that these cannot possibly continue under constant provocations.
President Anastasiadis has withdrawn from the Cyprus issue negotiations with Turkish Cypriot leader Dervish Eroglu, at least for the present time, following Turkish provocations and threats of a natural gas exploration in the island's offshore exclusive economic zone. The withdrawal includes the Greek Cypriot side's top negotiator, Andreas Mavrogiannis. The decision was reached unanimously during an urgent meeting of parliamentary political leaders, which focused on measures to counteract Turkish actions. Government spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis noted that the Council of Leaders unanimously condemns Turkish provocations, which constitute a blatant violation of Republic of Cyprus sovereign rights and the UN Charter for the Law of the Sea. Such actions, the Council notes, constitute a threat to regional security, stability and peace. Parliamentary leaders also call on the international and EU community to respond strongly to Turkish provocations. The government spokesman added that the Republic of Cyprus will continue to exercise its sovereign rights in its exclusive economic zone, and Italian natural gas firm Enicogas is continuing exploration in Plot 9 as normal. Christodoulidis further noted that certain additional legal measures against the Turkish action are being looked into and will be announced as soon as implementation begins. President Anastasiadis has also been briefing EU leaders on developments, expecting the European partners, but also Security Council permanent members, to react. Dervish Eroglu said President Anastasiadis was wrong to withdraw from the talks. In a written statement, Eroglu claimed that the decision to call off the negotiations, justified on a violation of the Republic of Cyprus sovereign rights, is not in line with the realities of the Cyprus issue, as he said. It constitutes, he added, the determination of the Greek Cypriot side to ignore the rights of the Turkish Cypriot people. He further claimed that the Greek Cypriot side's stance is yet another indication that its intentions are not honest. In Washington, State Department spokeswoman Jennifer Psaki reiterated that the United States recognized the Republic of Cyprus's sovereign right to develop exclusive economic zone resources. Commenting on the Turkish provocations, Psaki stressed the importance of refraining from actions that might be the cause of tension in the area. She further noted Washington's steadfast position that oil and natural gas reserves and other resources must be equally shared between the two communities in the framework of a comprehensive settlement of the Cyprus issue. In Athens, the Greek government lambasted Ankara's Cyprus exclusive economic zone provocations as unacceptable actions that raise dangerous tensions. It keeps an open line of coordination with Nicosia, monitoring developments off the island. Citing diplomatic sources, our correspondent in Athens said that the foreign ministers of the two countries, Ioannis Kassoulidis and Evangelos Venizelos, are briefing EU counterparts, as well as Commission officials and NATO member states. Venizelos is conveying to his counterparts that the Republic of Cyprus' sovereign rights are the sole responsibility of its government and not of the two communities, and in case of a settlement, such issues must remain under the control of the central government in a federal system and not the constituent states. Greece is pushing for an inclusion of the Turkish provocations in a chapter of the upcoming Commission Progress Report on Turkey, expected to be made public on Thursday. Meanwhile, as reported from Athens, the Italian presidency of the EU is also highly critical of Ankara, as state natural gas firm Eni is the one conducting exploration in Plot 9 of Cyprus's offshore exclusive economic zone.
President Anastasiadis sent a protest letter to UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon, calling on him to exert pressure towards Turkey to cease provocations in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone. The President requested from the international organization to dissuade Turkey from pushing ahead with seismographic research with the ship Barbaros or any other actions in regard to energy exploration that constitute a violation of the island's sovereign rights. He further conveys to Ban Ki-moon his decision to withdraw from Dervish Eroglu talks tomorrow and Friday, and in order to give time to the UN and governments supporting the organization's Good Office's mission to persuade Ankara. Anastasiadis also notes that if Turkey goes ahead with such intentions, it would constitute a heavy blow to Cyprus issue negotiations, derail the process and undermine current efforts by the UN Special Advisor on Cyprus, Espen Barth Eider. Later in the day, the deputy government spokesman said that goodwill and proof of political desire by the Turkish side will facilitate the Cyprus issue settlement process. The UN Chief Special Advisor is in Cyprus and held talks with President Anastasiadis, which focused on the Turkish provocations and the effect on the ongoing settlement talks. The Norwegian diplomat said that he had a very constructive, interesting and important meeting with the president in the framework of talking to both sides about how to develop the ideas for finding a solution to the Cyprus problem. Ida said he recognized that this was a very tense moment as the situation has become more complex given developments at sea off Cyprus. He further underlined, however, that there are strategic reasons why the current status quo is utterly unacceptable. The UN Chief's Special Advisor said that his mandate has not changed and expressed the hope that he will be able to have the leaders meet at a later stage. In the meantime, though, he stressed he will talk to them about what could be the content of the process when negotiations resume. Asked how the two sides could overcome this suspension of the talks, Ida said this was a serious issue that is also seen in all parts of the world when there are maritime disputes. It illustrates, he noted, one of the points he has raised in an earlier presence to the island, which is that oil and gas can either be a blessing or a curse. If it is well managed, it will be a source of wealth for all Cypriots, he said. If it becomes a source of tension, it will be a problem for everyone, and then it will be more of a curse. And I think Ida stressed it's very important now that everybody acts responsibly and avoids a further escalation, and that as soon as possible create an understanding that the oil and gas resources, as President Anastasiadis has repeatedly stated, is for all Cypriots. Ida was asked that after the recent Turkish action, it would perhaps be more of a priority to be in Ankara rather than Nicosia. He stressed that he is frequently in contact with the Turkish leadership, meeting with almost all the top Turkish leaders on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York. He would visit Ankara soon, as he is in contact with them, as well as the rest of the guarantor powers. Ida said that it's up to the leaders to decide when to meet again. I cannot force people to meet, he stressed, but expressed the hope that this will be soon. While they are not meeting, he added, he will keep talking to both. Turkish Cypriot leader Dervish Eroglu has sacked his top negotiator Kudret Erzersay. According to our Istanbul correspondent, Erzersay has been removed from his post following a decision to be a candidate in the illegal presidential elections in the occupied territories. In a written statement, Eroglu said that this was a crucial and sensitive phase of the Cyprus issue, adding that he met with Erzersay, telling him it was best to return to his duties as a professor. Turkey has put into question the sovereign right of the Republic of Cyprus to develop natural wealth in its exclusive economic zone, said Brussels today in its enlargement progress report, noting the sovereign rights of all EU member states to sign bilateral agreements, explore and develop their resources on the basis of the acquis communautaire and international law, including the UN's law of the sea. The condemnation of Turkish threats against the Republic of Cyprus was included in the report following a protest letter by President Anastasiadis to EU leaders. The Commission further points out the need for member states' territorial waters to be respected. The progress report finds that in spite of repeated appeals, Turkey did not fall in line with its commitments to Cyprus and has not implemented the Ankara Protocol, calling for the recognition of the Republic of Cyprus and the normalization of relations between the two countries. It is also noted that Turkey has not lifted the veto against Cyprus' participation in several international organizations. The EU calls on Ankara to refrain from all kinds of threats or actions directed against a member state or cause damaging tension. The document refers to the challenge of provocative action. Energy Minister Yorgos Lagodribis made clear that Nicosia goes ahead as planned with the hydrocarbons exploration in its exclusive economic zone, taking no account of Turkish provocations. In remarks to our station from Milan, where he took part in an EU Energy Ministers Summit, Lagodribis said that indicative of Cyprus not being affected by Ankara's threats is the fact that in the past few days, representatives of American energy firm Naval were in Cyprus to present their proposals on utilizing the reserves in Plot 12 of Cyprus's exclusive economic zone. Lagodribis briefed the Italian presidency and his counterparts on recent Turkish actions, with his Italian counterpart, who chaired the meeting, expressing support for the island's sovereign rights, noting that state firm Eni is taking part in Plot 9 drilling. The Cyprus energy minister stressed that Cyprus reserves are also European, and their utilising could contribute in a decisive manner to the continent's energy security, more so now where alternative supply routes are being sought. President Anastasiadis sent a clear message to Ankara to redress its recent provocations over Cyprus's exclusive economic zone and work towards substantial and practical measures that will lead to the reunification of the island. He assured that he will continue to work tirelessly with all the means at his disposal towards achieving reunification. The President stressed that the Republic of Cyprus belongs to all its legal citizens and will continue to pursue its policies with respect to the fundamental values and principles of the European Union, of which it is and will continue to be a member. He spoke at the English School, a private secondary school managed by the government since 1960, on the occasion of the 54th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence of Cyprus. The government in Nicosia welcomed Turkey's accession progress report, in which there is extensive reference to Ankara's provocations in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone. Spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis said that the document outlines yet again the complete lack of progress by the Turkish side in regard to its commitments towards Cyprus, an EU member state. He notes that the report highlights Turkish provocative action, which clearly questioned the Republic's sovereign rights to explore and develop natural resources within its exclusive economic zone. For the first time, Christodoulidis added, Brussels has made an appeal for respect of member state sovereignty in their territorial waters. The spokesman further pointed out that in light of Ankara's recent hostile actions, the European Commission states that actions and remarks which do not facilitate and benefit ongoing negotiations should be avoided. Meanwhile, commenting on opposition criticism that the government has not done enough to counter Turkish provocations and that the island's Western allies are standing idly by, the spokesman expressed regret that during difficult times certain circles insist on partisanship and not unity and solidarity. The issue is not up for political wrangling, he added, and the only goal should be to serve national interest. Russia referred to Turkish steps in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone as unilateral and an unacceptable show of force. The Russian Foreign Ministry said in a statement that such action poses a grave risk not just to the island but the eastern Mediterranean region as a whole. The issue was the focus of a meeting in Moscow between Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Dmitry Meshkov and President Anastasiadis' envoy on the Cyprus issue, Sodos Zakaios. Also on the agenda was the Cyprus issue and opportunities at further deepening bilateral relations. Meanwhile, the EU's Italian presidency, through its ambassador in Cyprus, Guido Saboni, assured that his country is handling the issue of Turkish actions in the island's exclusive economic zone through background diplomatic channels in a discreet manner. In remarks to the Cyprus news agency, the Italian ambassador reiterated the Commission's position that Nicosia has a sovereign right to explore natural resources in its exclusive economic zone. The EU's steadfast stance, he added, is also indicative of the Italian position, as the company drilling for natural gas in Cyprus's Plot 9 is Italian-owned.
The UN Chief's Special Advisor on the Cyprus issue, Espen Barth-Eider, held talks with former President Dimitris Christofias, focusing on the break-off of negotiations and Turkish provocations in the island's exclusive economic zone. Eider expressed the need to defuse the situation and clear what is what, as he said. He assured that he is working intensively with both sides in order to create the right circumstances to relaunch the talks. Referring to the Turkish provocations, the UN official said there were two alternative perspectives on what it saw from the Greek side and the Turkish Cypriot side, and each side seems to be quite confident that their interpretation is the right one. There is little understanding between them, as he noted. Asked why the UN does not clearly condemn Turkish provocations, Eider said the whole issue was emotional, and the Turkish Cypriots believe that hydrocarbons belong to everyone, citing statements by President Anastasiadis and predecessors that money from energy will be shared between the two sides equally. Both sides, he added, believe in their story, and this is quite typical in such situations. The UN Chief Special Advisor referred to the issue as contentious. As to the break-off in negotiations, Ida conveyed both sides' commitment to return to the table when conditions are ripe, and he said he was working to rebuild enough trust to achieve this. The Cyprus government expects stronger public condemnation, but also more energized behind-the-scene actions by international partners and organizations in relation to Turkish provocation in the island's exclusive economic zone. Spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis noted that efforts towards getting Turkey to reconsider its decision have been launched from various directions, and this is the only way in which the Greek Cypriot side may return to the negotiating table. Christodoulidis said he was pleased with the relevant position expressed by Russia yesterday, which he described as very positive, adding that similar declarations are expected from other countries, with backstage pressure applied to Ankara by the EU's Italian presidency and other states. He also said that initiatives have been undertaken by Brussels, with an announcement expected in the coming days. Nikos Christodoulidis added that Nicosia is closely monitoring the situation and will act accordingly each step of the way, while also pointing out that all but none recognize the fact that negotiations cannot possibly be held under threats and intimidation.
Foreign Minister Ioannis Kassoulidis has called for unity at home and collective policy towards Turkey's serious provocations within Cyprus's exclusive economic zone. Kassoulidis also told a press conference that statements by political parties on the way the international community reacted towards Turkey's provocations were unnecessary, because, he added, they only serve political expediencies and aim towards the introduction of bitterness in relations between Cyprus and third countries, based on ideological preferences. Kassoulidis stressed that this may cause some damage to the government or opposition, but much bigger harm to the country, and that what they should have all noted is the public recognition by the European Union and permanent members of the UN Security Council that Turkey should respect the sovereign territorial waters of Cyprus. President Anastasiadis has warned that the Greek Cypriot side will not return to the negotiating table as long as Turkey questions the sovereignty of Cyprus's territorial waters. Addressing an anti-occupation march this morning by Morphou refugees, the President also said that the government had no choice but to suspend on Tuesday the UN-brokered Cyprus peace talks, and that Ankara's continued provocation stoked further tension in the region by not recognizing Nicosia's sovereign right to exploit its exclusive economic zone. In addition, Anastasiadis assured once again that offshore mineral wealth belongs to all Cypriots in a reunited federal bizonal bicommunal country. Last week, Ankara issued a maritime advisory that a Turkish seismic vessel would be surveying in the same area as Italy's Eni platform from October the 20th. The area falls within Cyprus's exclusive economic zone, but Turkey, which still occupies part of the island, refuses to recognize it in full violation of international law. Washington, D.C., London, the EU and Russia, as well as other third parties, have all denounced the Turkish provocations.
Good evening. The latest Turkish threats are hardly conducive to cultivating a sense of trust among the Greek Cypriot community and raise serious doubts as to Turkey's true intentions, was the lead-in to a statement issued today by the President of the Republic. Elaborating, Nikos Anastasiadis pointed out that Cyprus's natural gas reserves belong to the state, and that consequently it's through a solution to the island's long-standing problem that all legitimate residents may be able to benefit from revenue deriving from the exploitation of the state's natural wealth. Continuing, he reiterated his commitment that he'll do everything he can towards the solution of the Cyprus issue, and it's for this reason, he stressed, that he's avoiding issuing negative public statements on the negotiating process. What's needed now, he said, are measures restoring confidence and not ones stepping up mistrust among Cyprus's legitimate residents through actions violating international law. In an address during the presentation of the annual Stelios Hadjiouannou Business Awards, which aim at promoting joint Greek and Turkish Cypriot entrepreneurship, the President of the Republic noted that the Greek Cypriot side makes no attempt to shun its responsibilities, it does not engage in any blame games, and its will towards a solution is genuine. The status quo is unacceptable, he concluded, and a solution will lend perspective to a joint Greek and Turkish Cypriot future. A clear message to Ankara, meanwhile, that in view of the Turkish provocations, the Greek Cypriot side has decided to suspend and not break off the Cyprus issue negotiations, was today sent out by the island's government spokesman. In an interview posted on the website of Turkey's Sabah newspaper, Nikos Christodoulidis notes that the Republic of Cyprus had warned Ankara that a possible deployment of naval vessels to the area where drilling is being held could have had the said result. While asked to comment on the eventuality of the checkpoints along the island's buffer zone being closed, he said that nothing of the sort has even been considered. Appearing on our midday current affairs program Από Μέρα σε Μέρα, meanwhile, the government spokesman offered the assessment that Turkey's actions and the NAVTEX issued may possibly indicate a sense of nervousness on the part of Ankara, stemming from the developments in the broader region or from specific actions. Elaborating, Nikos Christodoulidis said that one should not take it for granted that Turkey's role in the region will be upgraded and that any illegal desires she may have will be satisfied. While on the checkpoint issue, he pointed out that the government aims at bringing about a cost to Turkey itself and the occupation regime set up in the north of the island, and not to the Turkish Cypriot populace per se. Still on the Turkish provocations, the Republic of Cyprus is well aware that intensive efforts are being made by various countries to avert or minimize problems possibly arising from Turkey's NAVTEX, as stated this morning by the island's foreign minister. Speaking on our third radio channel, Ioannis Kassoulidis made a point of saying that while the content of public statements on the part of the US and other countries may appear mild, the Cyprus government is fully satisfied with the behind-the-scene and diplomatic efforts, and that results are expected. Commenting on an expressed position that the reaction of the US as a strategic partner of Cyprus was not that expected, the foreign minister said that a strategic partner is one thing and an ally another. Elaborating, he noted that the establishment of a strategic partnership was Washington's choice within the framework of Cyprus's cooperation in the fight against terrorism and the island's contribution to stability in the eastern Mediterranean. This is not an alliance, he concluded, and neither have we opted to be allies of the United States. On a related note, Foreign Minister Kassoulidis said that a three-way heads of government meeting among Cyprus, Greece and Egypt, scheduled for the 8th and 9th of next month in Cairo, will deal first and foremost with energy matters concerning the three countries. Preceding the summit, to be realized among the presidents of Cyprus and Egypt and the Prime Minister of Greece, will be a preparatory meeting among the three countries' foreign ministers, scheduled to take place in Cyprus between the 24th and 26th of this month. Among the items on the agenda, as disclosed by Ioannis Kassoulidis, is the possibility of Cyprus's natural gas being pumped through to Egypt's liquefaction terminals for processing. Meanwhile, a threat towards the disturbance of the peace in the eastern Mediterranean and along the borders of the European Union were the words chosen today by Cyprus's House Speaker to describe the presence of Turkish naval vessels in the island's exclusive economic zone. Speaking just prior to his departure for Brussels for a series of meetings tomorrow and the day after, Yanakis Omiru posited that both the European Union and the international community have an obligation to defend legitimacy, adding that the boundaries of Cyprus's exclusive economic zone are also the southernmost borders of the EU. Cyprus's House Speaker further pointed out that the imperative, as he said, need for the collective bodies of the EU to react in an efficient manner, given that Turkey is a candidate state and has to abide by its obligations to all member states, including the Republic of Cyprus, is a given. On a closing note, House Speaker Omiru also greeted yesterday's agreement between Greece and Cyprus for the unification of the two countries' maritime regions for purposes of search and rescue operations.
Italy, holding the EU's rotating presidency, has made representations to Ankara on its harassment of exploration and drilling by the Republic of Cyprus in its exclusive economic zone. Rome was highly displeased with Turkish actions against Eni Kogas, an Italian firm conducting the drilling in the Republic's Plot 9, also referred to as Zonas Agoras. Foreign Minister Ioannis Kassoulidis said Nicosia was fully satisfied with Italy's protest letter, but also regrets that such Turkish actions have forced the Cyprus government to break off settlement talks. In statements on our station, Kassoulidis disclosed that prior to Ankara's provocations, the US government had assured that Eni would not be harassed by Turkish boats. Washington had even called on Nicosia not to react. President Anastasiadis will put the issue of Turkish provocations to his European partners on the sidelines of the 10th Eurasian Summit being held in Milan. The Cyprus president is expected to hold talks with outgoing European Council President Herman Van Rompuy, as well as the Italian Prime Minister and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
The issue of the latest Turkish provocations in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone will be raised by President Anastasiadis on the sidelines of the Eurasian Summit being held today and tomorrow in the northern Italian city of Milan. Nikos Anastasiadis was expected to hold talks with the leaders of Singapore and Malaysia, as well as a number of EU member state leaders, including Italian Premier Matteo Renzi, holding the rotating presidency, and outgoing European Council President Herman Van Rompuy. The president has also been scheduled to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin following a Kremlin initiative. At the summit, Cyprus's president is scheduled to make an intervention during the discussion of the topic titled Cooperation between Europe and Asia in Dealing with Global Challenges. Russia has announced major naval exercises committing a big offshore region east of Famagusta between Cyprus and Syria. The exercises, according to Daily Philadelpheros and confirmed by Deputy Government Spokesman Viktoras Papoudopoulos, will be of an attacking nature, with the scenario including the use of rockets. According to the nota issued by the Russian Navy, exercises will start on the morning of October the 20th, when the Turkish Navtex on seismic energy exploration also begins and concludes 2 days later. The westernmost region committed for the Russian Navy is around 25 kilometers off the Apostolos Andreas Monastery and reaches 90 kilometers off Cape Greco. It almost touches upon the area illegally marked by Turkey for energy exploration and Plot 3 of Cyprus's exclusive economic zone. The area will also be closed off for flights at a height of 33,000 feet due to anti-aircraft rocket fire.
Turkish provocations in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone topped the agenda of high-level talks between President Anastasiadis and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin last evening in Milan on the sidelines of the Eurasian Summit. Government spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis told our morning current affairs program that the two leaders had a working dinner with discussion in a very friendly atmosphere. Beyond the latest Turkish provocations and the ensuing breakup of Cyprus settlement talks, they also talked about further deepening bilateral relations as well as Moscow's cooperation with the EU. Christodoulidis said that the Russian president described Turkish actions in the area as unacceptable. He did not rule out a Putin visit to Cyprus in the near future, depending on developments. Turkish provocations are unjustifiable, said government spokesman Christodoulidis, noting that their effect is regional. Commenting on the major Russian naval exercise off Cyprus in an area between the island and Syria starting on Monday, the spokesman said nothing in politics is accidental. He noted that the exercise starts October 20th, the same day as the Turkish Navtex naval nota comes into effect in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone. The spokesman further confirmed that on the next day, Cyprus and Israel will hold a joint exercise in the same area. The latest developments, he added, are not merely symptomatic, such as foreign dignitaries' visit to the region, the naval exercises, as well as Ankara's resounding failure to get elected as a non-permanent member of the Security Council. European Parliament President Martin Schulz appears to have blocked a resolution condemning Turkish provocations against Cyprus that was to be approved by the European body next month. The initiative had been undertaken by Cypriot MEPs and a request submitted by the European left grouping at the European Parliament. According to reports, Schulz blocked the resolution because he feared it would go against Cyprus. The socialist group had undertaken to push forward the resolution next month. Head of the group, Gianni Pittella, had strongly criticized Turkish actions during a meeting in Brussels with House Speaker Yanakis Omiru. He had stressed that Turkey is in violation of international law and is lashing at both Cyprus and Italy, which has commercial interests in the island's exclusive economic zone drilling. The Cyprus issue was the focus of talks between UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon and Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu in New York. Our correspondent in Turkey reported that Ban referred to the importance of continuing Cyprus negotiations. Çavuşoğlu claimed that the Turkish side never abandoned the table of talks and Ankara had always supported the need for a settlement. Ban Ki-moon is reported to have told the Turkish foreign minister that in spite of his country's failure to get elected as a non-permanent member of the Security Council, it will have the chance to undertake a role in the future.
Good evening. Energy Minister George Lagodribis has said that Cyprus is more than determined to implement strategic plans involving its exclusive economic zone despite Turkey's provocations. He also said that the consortium of Italy's Eni and Korea's Kogas will continue drilling in Plot 9 offshore Cyprus according to plan. Nicosia has licensed multinationals to explore for hydrocarbons within its exclusive economic zone, and the consortium currently has a platform at Onasalgoras plot. This block falls within the island's internationally recognized area, but Turkey, which still occupies part of the EU member state, refuses to recognize it as being Cypriot waters. Italy, which also holds the rotating presidency of the EU, has already made representations to Ankara, which issued a NAVTEX directive for explorations of the Turkish research vessel Barbaros near Onasalgoras plot as of Monday. At the same time, Lagodribis referred to Russia's navy carrying out a 4-day rocket firing exercise off the island's northern coast as of Monday, and he said that part of Cyprus's exclusive economic zone has been licensed for the exercise. Government spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis today said Nicosia never doubted that Russia's positions were based on principles, and that President Vladimir Putin's statement this week that Turkey's provocations in the territorial waters of Cyprus were unacceptable came as no surprise. Christodoulidis, who was speaking to CyBC's morning radio, also said that relations between Nicosia and Moscow were and still are excellent. Diplomatic activity is ongoing, he added, in preparation of the ground for President Anastasiades' official visit to Moscow in the very near future. Good evening. I was right to quit the talks over Turkish provocation, said President Anastasiades, defending his decision to break off negotiations, following Ankara's move to commit an area for energy exploration that is part of Cyprus's exclusive economic zone. The President said he would have been betraying the people's trust in him if he continued talking to the Turkish Cypriot side under the threat of new de facto situations. He made clear he will not be swayed by calls to return to negotiations that have simply become a dialogue of the deaf, as he put it. President Anastasiades further noted that certain regional developments are possibly not allowing foreign powers to take more decisive action against Turkey, even though they do recognize that the Greek Cypriot side was perfectly justified in its decision to leave the talks. Commenting on certain international community calls to have Turkish Cypriot participation in energy wealth established from now, Anastasiades noted that this will never happen prior to a settlement of the Cyprus issue. After it is achieved, he added, then the Turkish Cypriot community will surely benefit from the distribution of energy wealth, which he described as God's blessing on the island. He stressed that Turkish provocations not only violate international law,
but also clearly refute those who believed in Ankara's assurances of a substantial contribution to the settlement of the Cyprus issue. Meanwhile, the National Council will hold a crucial all-day-long meeting tomorrow focusing on the Turkish provocations and with a view to the fact that tomorrow sees the start of a Turkish illegal NAVTEX, a notice to all ships that a massive offshore area has been committed within the island's exclusive economic zone for Turkish exploration. The nota extends to December the 30th, but it's not expected that the seismographic vessel Barbaros will enter the committed area tomorrow. It is now moving northeast of the occupied Karpas Peninsula. Ankara's moves will be discussed in conjunction with developments on the Cyprus issue, as President Anastasiadis called off negotiations with the Turkish Cypriot side 2 weeks ago. Government spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis told our station that strategy will be drawn up on the basis of consensus on how to proceed on both fronts, the talks as well as Turkish provocations. If need be, the National Council will also convene on Tuesday. Meanwhile, tomorrow also sees the start of major Russian naval drills in an area between Cyprus and Syria, extending to 800 square miles and right on the side of the one committed by Turkey. The Russian exercises are expected to last 3 days and they include firing rockets from ships. Cyprus and Israel also launch air drills on Tuesday, with Tel Aviv deploying F-15 and F-16 fighter jets.
Good evening. The Turkish research ship Barbaros, escorted by 2 support vessels and a Navy frigate, entered the area of Cyprus's exclusive economic zone reserved through Ankara's NAVTEX maritime directive at around 6:30 this morning, while at around 9:30 a.m. it sailed into Plot 3 of the island's EEZ. This, as stated on our 3rd radio channel this morning by Defence Minister Christoforos Fokaidis, who added that Nicosia had been monitoring the research ship's movements, which set sail from the Turkish port of Mersin yesterday, and which, given its speed, could rightly have been expected to enter the illegally reserved area today. This development, he noted, constitutes a provocative and illegal act as well as a blatant violation of international and European law, while at the same time undermining security and stability in the region. Continuing, Christoforos Fokaidis said that given the realization of Ankara's threats, the Republic of Cyprus is now forced to step up its response in defense of its sovereign rights, with a number of scenarios as regards measures aimed at the unhampered implementation of its energy plans having already been looked at. It's obvious, he concluded, that Turkey has chosen to behave as a troublemaker in the region, while he also pointed out that what's required now is unity, consensus and prudence, and not knee-jerk reactions. Given Turkey's illegal activity in Cyprus's EEZ, Nicosia and Athens have announced that they're coordinating actions in order to deal effectively with any and all incidents which may arise. The latest Turkish provocation was discussed today between Cyprus Foreign Minister Ioannis Kassoulidis and Greece's Evangelos Venizelos on the sidelines of the EU General Affairs Council in Luxembourg, with diplomatic sources disclosing to our station that the 2 countries are closely but calmly monitoring all developments and are intensifying efforts at both a European and international level in order to best deal with any threat. The same sources further disclose that the leaders of the 2 countries are also maintaining an open line of communication and are constantly being briefed as well as sharing with each other information on Turkey's actions. In a subsequent statement, Greece's foreign minister openly called on Turkey to fall back, not only in relation to the Barbaros research vessel, but also as regards its foreign policy, and act within the framework of international law and both assist and support the stalled Cyprus issue negotiations. Evangelos Venizelos further voiced sorrow over the fact that Turkey refused to conform to international law and paid no heed to the voices of the international community, the United Nations and the European Union. Meanwhile, Russia this morning launched her announced naval exercise in the maritime region between Cyprus and Syria, having reserved an area of 800 square miles, in part abutting with that provided for in Turkey's NAVTEX. The Russian maneuvers are scheduled to continue until this Thursday, October 23rd, and will include ship-based missile launches. The Russian naval exercise notwithstanding, tomorrow will see the commencement of Israeli maneuvers including F-15 and F-16 warplane overflights, with Cyprus also scheduled to be taking part.
The National Council has unanimously decided on specific action to counter Turkish provocations in the island's offshore exclusive economic zone. Following a second-day-long meeting of the political advisory body of parliamentary leaders in as many days, 8 measures were agreed upon. Government spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis said there was complete consensus on strong reaction in the face of such blatant Turkish aggression. President Anastasiadis will put the issue at the 2-day EU summit starting on Thursday and aiming at condemnation of Turkish illegal moves and the violation of the Republic's sovereign rights. Cyprus will further utilize its EU membership at various international fora with a view to a costly blocking of Ankara. Furthermore, Nicosia intends to veto the opening of any new chapters in Turkey's European accession course, while also considering a Security Council appeal. The Attorney General, as well as international legal firms, will be instructed to undertake a study on possible legal action against all those that are in any way connected to the Turkish provocations. In parallel, diplomatic representations will continue, in conjunction with the island utilizing its influence and good relations with particular countries in the region. Official charges will also be brought against Ankara, the UN's Law of the Sea Office, as well as the International Shipping Organization. The National Council has also decided on a series of other measures which will not be made public, but used depending on whether Ankara chooses to back down or maintain its provocations. President Anastasiadis has sent a protest letter to UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon, charging Turkey with aggression in the island's exclusive economic zone and the consequences in the Cyprus issue negotiating process. In the letter dated October 6th, which was submitted and made public as a UN document in the General Assembly and Security Council, the President notes that Turkish actions are damaging to efforts at creating a positive climate and blowing the negotiating process sky high. It is regretful, Anastasiadis added, that Turkish illegal activity in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone is launched at a time when the UN Chief Special Advisor in Cyprus is setting a framework of substantive dialogue. He calls on Ban Ki-moon to stand against this Turkish provocation. Energy Minister Yorgos Lakoudripis said that any Kogas continues exploration activity as normal in Cyprus's Plot 9 in spite of provocations. He noted that work is on schedule. Lakoudripis stressed that the Eni drill is being closely monitored through electronic means, while Energy Ministry officials are also physically on the platform. Commenting on Turkish provocations, Lakoudripis said that the Energy and Foreign Ministries are coordinating action. He made clear that both strategy axes are being forged ahead without delay, namely exploratory drills and the utilizing of the natural gas that has already been discovered. Meanwhile, Turkey continues to ignore international criticism, and its exploratory boat Barbaros is sailing within the offshore limits of Cyprus's Plot 1 in its exclusive economic zone. Nicosia is monitoring its moves through the Search and Rescue Coordination Center. Meanwhile, France made it plain that it's Cyprus's inalienable right to exploit its natural resources within its exclusive economic zone. The French Foreign Ministry General Director Christian Masset told his Cypriot counterpart Alexandros Zinon during a meeting in Nicosia that Paris is concerned about Turkish actions which are raising tensions in the region. He stressed the need to restore trust, which will allow the resumption of negotiations. This is what would have conveyed to Turkey, he said. Today also saw a joint Israel-Cyprus exercise with Israeli forces deploying F-15 and F-16 fighter jets. Russia also continued its large-scale naval drills, committing an 800 square miles area right next to the one committed by Turkey illegally. The Russian exercise, which includes rocket fire, is expected to conclude on Thursday.
Government spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis said President Anastasiades will ask the European Council, which meets tomorrow in Brussels, to condemn the illegal actions of Turkey and the violation of the sovereign rights of the Republic of Cyprus in its exclusive economic zone. Christodoulidis told our radio station that the issue is not on the agenda of the meeting, since it has been prepared long before, but it will be raised when other issues come up for discussion. He said Anastasiades will ask for a denunciation of Turkey's encroachment in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone. Anastasiades will also raise the issue at a meeting of state and government leaders of the European People's Party, also meeting in Brussels. The European Parliament has decided to discuss the illegal actions of Turkey in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone during a short session of the European Parliament in Brussels on November the 12th and 13th. The National Council, which met yesterday, already decided not to give consent to the opening of any new chapters in Turkey's accession negotiations and will consider the possibility of recourse to the Security Council of the United Nations. Christodoulidis said British Prime Minister David Cameron has asked for a meeting with President Anastasiades to discuss the Turkish actions in the Eastern Mediterranean. Turkish seismic exploration vessel Barbaros entered Cyprus's exclusive economic zone on Monday, and according to Christodoulidis, it has made all necessary preparations to start seismic exploration. Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu has claimed that Turkey has a right to explore for hydrocarbons in the Cypriot exclusive economic zone under an agreement with the breakaway state in the occupied part of Cyprus. Turkey illegally set up the breakaway state after it occupied the northern part of Cyprus in a 1974 invasion. The establishment of the so-called state has been denounced by the United Nations, and it is recognized only by Turkey. Davutoglu claimed that the Cyprus Republic is unilaterally exploiting the island's energy sources. He said no one must try to provoke a crisis over the issue, saying that if the Greek Cypriots claim that the Turkish Cypriots have no rights over energy, then a two-state solution to the Cyprus problem must be discussed. Political parties reacted sharply today to the statements made by the Turkish Prime Minister, saying they are unfounded and are not based on legality. Main opposition Egel's top legal official, Dumazos Celebis, said Davutoglu's claim that Turkey had a right to explore on the strength of an agreement with the illegal occupation regime in the north could not be supported under international law. He pointed out that the agreement is worth only the paper on which it was written, as it was made with a non-existing state entity which is recognized by none but Turkey, which established it as an occupation power. HEDEK leader Yanagis Omiro also dismissed the claim as another provocative statement by Ankara. Other parties commented on the decisions of the National Council in response to the Turkish provocations in Cyprus's exclusive economic zone, where exploration for natural gas is going on. The C governing party said it agreed with the decisions, adding that Turkish actions left no other way of action for President Anastasiades. Legal leader Nicolas Papadopoulos said it agreed with the measures decided by the National Council, but demanded more action to cause political cost to Turkey. Omiro also suggested that Cyprus should launch a recourse to the UN Security Council. Energy Minister Yorgos Lagotripis has said that exploratory drilling by the Eni Kogas Consortium in Block 9 is continuing normally despite the presence of Turkish warships nearby. Lagotripis said the drilling ship is being watched by Turkish warships from a distance of 5 kilometers, but they did not intervene in any way in the work being done. He added that the consortium's helicopters supplying the drilling ship have not been harassed or prevented to operate in any way. The minister said the drilling is proceeding according to the program and has reached the expected depth. However, results will be announced when all findings will have been appraised by December. Lagodribis said he expects to meet consortium officials in the next few days to discuss the progress of the drilling, but mainly its future exploration program in areas it has been given concessions. He said the ministry officials are visiting the drilling ship on a daily basis, but they will be continuously present as of next month, with the drill having reached a critical point. The United States State Department has said that Cyprus has a right to develop its natural resources in its exclusive economic zone. State Department spokeswoman Maria Hart said the United States recognizes this right and considers that all natural resources must be apportioned on an equal basis between the two Cypriot communities in the context of a comprehensive solution of the Cyprus problem. The spokeswoman also said that it is important to avoid actions which could increase tensions in the area. She added that the United States continue to offer strong support to the negotiating process under United Nations direction for the reunification of Cyprus in a bizonal federation.